Hello, this is Tomonori, your Japanese 101 instructor. Today, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to present the second part of the Japanese writing system, focusing on hiragana. Okay. We already talked about this 50 sound chart, and now we know how to use this. So again, hiragana is a phonetic symbols, so it shows the sound. The only thing it does is just show you how you pronounce it. Okay. So for example, this particular character is a combination of M consonant plus I vowel, so this should be mi. This particular character, it's a S consonant plus E vowel, so se, and that's how it works, right? And the rest is in fact a matter of memorization. Unfortunately, you just have to memorize these symbols and associate them with the specific sounds. There is no easy way to learn it. But the good news is you have only 46 characters. And this might give a little help, in fact. So this shows some of confusing characters. So this is the characters people typically have trouble with. This one, and this one. They actually look very like. The first one is ki. This one is sa. This one is a chi. And then these two are also confusing. This one is chi, and this one is ra. Okay, the same way. So this slide shows different sets of Japanese characters that are confusing, or that look like each other. Okay, and I need to talk one more thing, especially concerning this set. Okay, I just said this is ki, and this is sa, and this is chi, right? So when you look at this, they do not look like the same. In fact, this one and this one look completely different, and then you might ask why these are confusing. This is confusing when it's printed. When you have a characters, for example, there is two different forms. One is a print form, and there's another one's a handwritten form. Okay, so it's probably easier to start with English. So for example, this particular character A, we recognize this as A, right? But none of us writes A like this way when you write it. Okay, we always write this, or like more or less the same as this, but not this way. Okay, and then also let's say this little r, you have a little thing like here, but none of us writes this way, right? So when you write r, you write this way, but then not the way it's printed. Okay, so there are different forms, especially when it's printed. When it's printed, typically those characters are not written the same way as you write it. And these forms are handwritten form. Okay, so I chose specifically to show the on the slides it's a print, but I chose the fonts that so that we can show you how we write it. It's handwritten forms. But when you look at a textbook, for example, ki textbook is written this way. Sa is written this way. Okay, so that's where the confusion comes from. Sa it on the print form looks like this, which is almost the same as chi. It's just going the different direction. Okay, so that's one of the things about the hiragana. So when you study, hold on, when you study, most likely you're going to use the print form, right? Because you use the textbook or you use the workbook. Sometimes those print forms are not the exact. They don't show exactly how you write it. Okay, so you should be careful a little bit about it, or at least like you should be aware of it. Okay, anything in the textbook, our Genki textbook, and anything on our slides, lecture slides, are handwritten forms. So as far as you use the lecture slides or textbooks, you're safe. But if you go to the website, like to look for some resources, you might see different characters there. Great. So moving on. I'm gonna talk two more things about the hiragana. The first one is long vowels. Okay, I said there are 5 vowels in Japanese. It's true, but not exactly true. Because there are actually more vowels than 5 in Japanese. The reason is in Japanese, we care about the length of the vowels. Okay, so sometimes some vowels are said only one time, one moment. Sometimes some vowels are pronounced for multiple moments. It's longer. And if it's longer, it makes a difference sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Okay. Probably it's easier to start with an example. So this one is obasan, obasan. This one is obasan, obasan. Again, obasan, 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 obasan. Obasan is aunt, obasan is grandma. Okay. The difference here is this A sound, obasan, 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 obasan. You hear the longer, slightly longer with obasan. Okay. Another example, oji-san, 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 oji-san. Okay. So in this example, E sound, oji-san, this one is shorter, and then it means uncle. Oji-san, oji-san, this I is longer, oji-san, meaning grandfather. Okay. It doesn't mean it's only about the family terms. Actually, these examples happen to be both like family terms, but there are many other examples. For example, suji, suji, meaning thin line. Suji, suji, meaning number. Suji and suji. Okay, so you hear very subtle difference, but to Japanese ears, these are completely different words. So you don't want to mix between thin lines and numbers by saying the wrong ones. Okay, so I'm gonna give you. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give you a quick practice. So now I'm going to say one of these 2 words, obasan or obasan. So you tell me which one I said. Obasan, obasan. I said grandma. Obasan, obasan. I said aunt. Obasan, oba-san. I again said aunt. I'm gonna move on to the next set. Oji-san or oji-san. Oji-san, oji-san. I said uncle. Oji-san, oji-san. I still said uncle. Oji-san, oji-san. Now I said grandfather. Okay. Suji and suji. Suji, suji. Number. Suji, suji. I still said number. Suji, suji. Thin lines. Okay, so that's called the long vowel. Okay. And another irregular sound is the vowel sequence. Okay, so when you hear the sequence of e ending sound and I sound, Japanese hate this sequence, right? So we don't like a sound. So what we do is we make this as a long vowel. So instead of saying a, we use a, just elongates this one. Same way, O sound and U sound. O, O. Japanese don't like this sound. So what it does is just have a long O instead of O. Okay, so just say O, O. So these are the long vowels we just talked about. The example here is this. Okay, so this one is se, se, I, right? Here you see the sequence e and I, which Japanese don't like. And what it happens is this I sound becomes long E sound. So instead of saying sensei, sensei, we say sensei, sensei. Okay, so you heard like a long one, like E sound didn't appear, right? Just long A sound, like this, sensei, sensei. This one is yo, u, ko, so. Now you hear, you see the vowel sequence that Japanese don't like here, O and U. What happens is this becomes O. So instead of youkoso, youkoso, we say yokoso, yokoso, not youkoso. Okay. The last one is osama, osama becomes osama, osama. Okay. So basically all you have to remember is this. If you see E sound plus I sound, it becomes long E sound. If you hear O sound plus U sound, it becomes long O sound. Okay, so the way exactly as you have here. Okay. The last bit of the hiragana is I mentioned that there are 46 characters plus, and I said plus because the basic characters are 46, and we add a few more sounds by just adding a little bit to the characters we just studied. Okay. The first set up the little extra are 2 dots. So by adding 2 dots, we change the sound. How we change the sound? K sound becomes g sound. So k, k, k sound become g, g, g. Okay. So for example, this sound was ka, ka, ka. By adding these little two dots, see, there's a difference here. This one is ka, but this one has these little two dots on it. By adding these two dots, K sound becomes ga, ga. So how do you pronounce this one? So without two dots, it was ki, but since it has dots, K becomes ji, gi, gi. Okay. The same way, S sound becomes G sound by adding two dots. So this is sa, this is za, za. T sound becomes D sound, ta. This is ga. H sound becomes B sound, ha, ba. Okay, so by just adding these two dots, you get the 20 extra sounds, right? So all you have to know is these four things. K becomes G, S becomes Z, T becomes D, H becomes B. Okay, just by adding these two dots here. Okay. We also sometimes use a little circle like this. Okay. And it only happens with the H line. And how it changes, H becomes P sound. This is ha, ha. But when you add little two dots like this here, this becomes pa, pa. How do you pronounce this? This was he without without a circle. It becomes p, p. Okay. The last one, I have two more to go. And if you want to take a break, you might want to take a break. You can watch the rest of the video later. I have two more additional little things to change the hiragana. The first one is a small tsu, small tsu. Okay, so this is different from this. It's pronounced tsu. How it's different? It's smaller. Its size is smaller, usually a quarter of the size. Okay, if you write the quarter size of tsu, it's no longer pronounced as tsu. And what it is something called the double consonant. Okay, it's basically, so remember we talked about the lengthening the vowel. We do the same thing with the consonant. So sometimes consonant can be a little bit longer. It's not as obvious as a vowel, but you can do that with a consonant as well. So for example, this one is ite, 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 ite. Now you have a little tsu here, and what it does is it repeats the consonant that follows. So ite, and what it does is it repeats the consonant that follows, which is T sound. So now it becomes ite, ite. Okay, this one is ite, 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 ite. And this one is saki, saki. Again, you have a little tsu here. Now you repeat the K sound twice. Saki, saki. This is hossa, 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 hossa. Okay. Okay, so here is a challenge. So here I'm showing the one without anything, the version with the double consonant, and the version with the long vowel. Long vowel. Oh, okay, so this is wrong. We don't have this. Okay. So let's use the second one. So this sequence. So kite, kite is a without anything, meaning to come. With a double consonant, it becomes kitte, kitte, meaning stumps. If it's with a long vowel, it's kite, kite, to listen. Okay, so one is kite, kite, kite. So I'm going to tell one of them, so you tell me which one I said. Either to come, stumps, to listen. 聞いて 聞いて to listen. 来て 来て to come. 聞いて 聞いて to listen. 切って切って stumps. Okay, we're gonna practice more in class, but this is sometimes it's actually almost always confusing in terms of sounds. The difference is so subtle and sometimes very difficult to catch. Okay, I'm gonna talk the rest of the characters next week in the last series of the Japanese writing system. So I think this is it.